everyone loves Avatar The Last Airbender, you know? But if Avatar came out today, I think it would be written off as like woke SJW media.
How? How do you come to this conclusion? Nothing of it was SJW or woke like. Howdy y'all, my name is Rashnatla, and in today's video we are doing a response to Vaush and his comments on Avatar The Last Airbender being potentially cancelled if it was made today. Which, I'm pretty sure everyone can agree that sounds absolutely ridiculous. The closest thing you could possibly say that was woke about the show was the fact that the Water Tribe were brown, despite the fact that most of them lived in the poles, where they would more likely have lighter skin. That's all I can think of, but let's see what Vaush has to say.
It's also an explicitly progressive, multiracial, anti-imperialist message. The Fire Nation is like very clearly the post-industrial, hyper-nationalist, imperialist, like world. I mean, they're like an allegory almost for Imperial Japan, which was a fascist, country.
You will not find many people defending imperialism on the right today. Nationalism, now, yes, that is on the right, and it is quite popular with the right. However, nationalism does not mean always imperialism. Imperialism is a form of nationalism. The kind that I believe most people on the right are for is more of a civic or cultural nationalism.
The first scene of two of the characters, Sokka and Katara, is Sokka getting called out for being a misogynist. But the first scene was like Sokka talking down to Katara, even though she was clearly more mature than him, even though he was older, and deriding her for being a girl who likes stupid girl stuff. Sokka's literally like, yeah, a toxic masculine archetype who's so obsessed with being like a alpha male that he ends up making a fool of himself. And later, like I think episode like 5, he ends up getting shown up by a group of female warriors who have him cross-dress and teach him how to fight. Can you imagine a modern piece of media where the gung-ho male character is beaten by a group of warrior women who explicitly call attention to the fact that they're women, and then to train him, he has to wear their gear, and it's like, hey, you look good in that dress, Like, that would be conservative YouTuber content, wouldn't it? The progressive messaging is everywhere. Katara arguing with Sokka, being a misogynist, the Kyoshi warriors. When Katara goes up to the North Pole, they have a patriarchal society that doesn't allow her to learn waterbending unless she wants to be a healer, but she's a badass warrior, so she ends up fighting against the system and ends up, like, challenging what was the guy's name? Master Pagu or something? The really nasty misogynistic guy? Paku, thank you. Up on the North Pole.
For starters, no, she did not say he was a misogynist. She said he was sexist, which he was legitimately sexist. And also, the water-bending tribe was patriarchal. But that doesn't mean the right dislikes that being shown if you do it in a good way, and a way that is not condescending to men. They'll be fine with it. Which Avatar The Last Airbender did not do it in a condescending manner. But does that make this show woke? No. You can say it's progressive or even conservative in some ways, because conservatives believe treating women equally. They don't believe in talking down to women saying, oh, you're just a silly woman or whatever like that. No, they believe in respecting women as anyone else.
They had feminist stuff, anti-imperialist stuff, and multiracial stuff.
Pretty benign feminist stuff. As for imperialism, the right doesn't like imperialism. And for the multiracial, it's all different Asian ethnicities. Like, no one cared that they were all Asian. No one gives a shit. And a big reason as to why no one gives a shit is because these are well-written characters. They are believable, and they aren't condescending or annoying.
Behind Avatar The Last Airbender was a repudiation of the whole, might makes right philosophy. That's pretty critical to conservative or at least reactionary thought. The idea that there's some inherent existential value to power, But the show didn't care about that at all. The main character, Aang, was the biggest pacifist. He mourned the loss of his people, who were themselves pretty pacifist by the standards of the world they lived in. There really wasn't much military glorification in the show, because every time you saw a military in The Last Airbender, it was the Fire Nations, and it ruined the world. It tortured and pillaged and destroyed everything. The military was never really shown in a positive light at any point, In fact, when you got to Ba Sing Se in the Earth Kingdom, you meet the first, paramilitary force you see in the show, and it's the Dai Li, and they're feds, and they're horrible. The message being, the secret police are a fundamentally reactionary force. I mean, it was so,
You do realize there's the whole thing with Christians, who are a lot of conservatives, believe in turning the other cheek. Plus, that was just one philosophy. It never really said whether that was right or wrong. That's just another way to do things. Because I'm certain if it was Sokka who was the Avatar and he had the chance, he would have killed him. We already know the other avatars, if they had to, they would kill the enemy. And I'm sure if it came down to it, Aang probably would have killed him if he absolutely had to. But he found a way to not have to, so he didn't have to violate his personal beliefs. As for the military with the Fire Nation, no, conservatives are not for imperialism. Get that through your thick skull. As for the secret police, that was also something in frickin' Soviet Union. You retard.
Literally, these secret, SS shadow agents may as well belong to the enemy because they have no allegiance to the country they're stomping on, I also like they showed that the Fire Nation civilians are also victims of their imperialism. God, the show was so good. How do you fit all this into a kid's show, man? They even had episodes dedicated to exactly that. When they were in the Fire Nation, yeah, Fire Nation kids are stifled and oppressed, but on the whole, they're exactly the same as kids anywhere else. Fire Nation villages are being destroyed by the pollution and industrialization that the nation is engaging in just so they can build more warships. It's perfect. Yeah, Ba Sing Se is divided by class with an explicit criticism, not just of the monarchy, but of essentially the bourgeois,
No one is just for polluting, whether it's for war or for the economy. No one is just for that. People don't like pollution on the right either. We just realize that the government isn't the best way to get rid of pollution. As for Ba Sing Se, yeah, they have a caste system, which the right is not for. A caste system. That would be more in line with China and India, especially India.
This was too much moral complexity for a kid's show. They were too good. They were ahead of their time. In the episode Zuko Alone, where Zuko, who is at this point in the show basically an antagonist still, he goes off on his own because he's been exiled from the Fire Nation and he's starving and he doesn't have any food and he's sad. And he walks through the Earth Kingdom and he encounters Earth Kingdom soldiers who are using their authority to bully the citizens of a village into giving them food and doing whatever and overlooking crimes they commit, And Zuko stands up against them. And it's so clear. The Fire Nation isn't the threat. Power is the threat. It's almost an anarchist subtext, seriously.
What?
It's almost an anarchist subtext, seriously.
No, not even close. Avatar The Last Airbender was never for any form of anarchism. All of these nations had governments. It wasn't like it was anti-government. It was just anti-abuse of power. It was for liberty, for freedom.
It's not just one nation bad, one people bad, because that's not true. They explicitly reject those theses.
Which kind of goes against the left's narrative, saying that only one race is bad.
Oh god, Toph! Dude, if Toph was a character today, the anti-SJWs would have a fit over her. Wow, she's like a little girl, but she's strong and more masculine than everyone else. So woke. I bet they're gonna make her a trans boy in the next episode.
That's what people just call a tomboy. Have you forgotten that term?
Toph sounds like tough. Wow. Oh yeah, and she's disabled, yeah.
Do you seriously think that everyone on the right just hates disabled people? You are such a f***ing idiot. You seriously think that everyone on the right is a neo-Nazi? My God, you are just so stupid. Like, I don't know how to respond to this comment. That's just so retarded to say.
Wow, what a girl boss. The feminazis are forcing us to watch little media. Everyone knows that in reality, boys are stronger than girls. Like, we know exactly what would happen.
No one's against strong female characters. We just want them written well, and not to be condescending towards men. Toph was a strong, butch woman who was not condescending towards men. The only other point that I think is even somewhat worth noting, which he tries to mention, is where this one female character who shows up in one episode arm wrestled a muscular guy and beat him, and also that this woman was badass and strong, which the badass and strong part, no one on the right or the people who are against the woke are against. Plus, the arm wrestling thing, although people would perhaps call that out as being unrealistic, which it was unrealistic, but for the most part, I don't think anyone then or now would really care, because it is a one-off thing. Now, is Avatar The Last Airbender woke, or SJW? No, it's not. Could you say it's progressive? You can make the argument. But you could also make the argument that it's conservative. Conservatives often believe in forgiveness of thy enemy, and of course, of treating people equally regardless of their sex or race or ethnicity. The show also shows how the government can be evil or wrong or bad, and that freedom is something to be praised, to be loved, to like. The show is so middle ground with its messaging that you could interpret it as being a progressive form of media or a conservative form of media. But the one thing it cannot be said to be is be woke or SJW-like. Conservatives and the right aren't against strong female characters, nor are they against people who are disabled, nor are they for imperialism. Conservatives and those on the right strongly oppose imperialism, believe treating women equally is just, and also believe treating disabled people with respect is just, and people of different races equally is just. Now, you know what SJW or woke shows are like? They are often racist and or sexist. They will often talk down to men and or white people. That is what makes a woke or SJW TV show or movie or book or whatever it be. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe, share it, comment down below. And of course, if you really like my content, please consider donating to my Patreon, to my Ko-fi, or you can get a Medium membership in which half of that membership money goes to support me. And of course, you can also get something from one of my merch stores. Do all this, and I'll see y'all later.